Welcome to NeoNexus, where we uncover the hidden connections shaping global politics. Today, we're exploring a scenario that sounds like fiction: North Korea stepping in to defend the Philippines against China. Why would one of the world's most isolated regimes risk everything for a distant, very different nation? The South China Sea tensions have upended old rules, leaving the Philippines under growing pressure from China. Meanwhile, North Korea is desperate for leverage and relevance. Could Pyongyang and Manila's interests align in a way no one expects? We'll break down the South China Sea dispute, the fraught history between North Korea and China, and the motives that could drive Kim Jong-un to such a bold move. Then, we'll analyze the consequences. How would this alliance shift Asia's balance of power? What would it mean for the US? This is more than a story about ships and territory. It's about survival, strategy, and the unpredictable nature of international relations. Join us as we explore why North Korea might become the Philippines' most unlikely defender, and what that could mean for the world. Let's dive in. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade, and a flashpoint for conflict. Multiple countries, including the Philippines, claim parts of it, but China's sweeping 9-line claim overlaps with its neighbors' exclusive economic zones. For the Philippines, this isn't just geopolitics, it's about daily survival, sovereignty, and security. Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia routinely harass Filipino fishermen and block supply ships, even using water cannons to assert control. An international tribunal ruled in 2016 that these waters belong to Manila, but China ignores the verdict. The Philippines, outmatched militarily and economically, relies on diplomatic protests and its alliance with the US. But the pressure from China is relentless. Manila is left searching for new partners and leverage. In this tense environment, even an offer of support from a controversial nation like North Korea could upend the status quo. Such a move would force all sides to rethink their strategies. The Philippines needs allies, no matter how unconventional. That's what makes this scenario so intriguing. Could North Korea's involvement change the entire dynamic? Let's find out. On paper, China is North Korea's closest ally, its economic lifeline and diplomatic shield. But beneath the surface, the relationship is fraught with mistrust and resentment. North Korea's ruling Kim dynasty prizes self-reliance and resents dependence on Beijing. China's support always comes with strings attached, and Pyongyang knows it. When North Korea tests missiles or nuclear weapons, it often defies China's wishes, risking Beijing's anger and even sanctions. Kim Jong-un has tried to diversify his alliances, reaching out to Russia, South Korea, and even the US, signaling he won't be controlled by China. For Pyongyang, China is a powerful neighbor to be managed, not a trusted protector. North Korea constantly seeks leverage to reduce its dependency. Supporting the Philippines against China would be a dramatic assertion of independence. It would send a message: Pyongyang is no one's pawn. Such a move would be risky, but it would prove North Korea is a player in its own right. The question is, what would Pyongyang gain? Let's explore the motives. For North Korea, defending the Philippines could be a masterstroke of political reinvention. By siding with a smaller nation against a regional giant, Pyongyang could rebrand itself as a defender of sovereignty, not just a nuclear-armed pariah. This narrative would resonate with other Southeast Asian countries wary of China's rise. The move would force world leaders to engage with North Korea on new terms, potentially opening doors for negotiations and sanctions relief. Kim Jong-un could demand a seat at the table in regional security talks, transforming North Korea from outsider to indispensable player. Supporting the Philippines would also drive a wedge between China and its neighbors, and force ASEAN to take a clearer stance on Chinese aggression. For the US, it would complicate the simple adversary narrative, possibly forcing Washington into direct talks with Pyongyang. In short, this gambit could give North Korea leverage it's never had before. It's a bold play for relevance and power, but there's more at stake than just politics. Strategically, North Korea has every reason to challenge China's dominance. A powerful, unchecked China threatens Pyongyang's autonomy, and could one day force regime change or denuclearization. By stirring up trouble in the South China Sea, North Korea would force China to divert resources and attention away from the Korean peninsula. This distraction gives Pyongyang more freedom to pursue its own goals. North Korea could also showcase its military capabilities, conventional forces, submarines, and special units, by offering support or weapons to the Philippines. This would bring in foreign currency and prove North Korea's influence extends beyond its borders. Competing with China for influence in Southeast Asia is a survival strategy. Building new relationships reduces North Korea's isolation and vulnerability. Defending the Philippines would be the ultimate move in this high-stakes game. North Korea and the Philippines may seem worlds apart, but both share a legacy of resisting powerful foreign forces. The Philippines' history of colonization and occupation has forged a fierce sense of sovereignty, mirrored in North Korea's own anti-imperialist ideology. Pyongyang's propaganda celebrates standing up to bullies, a narrative that could be extended to support Manila's struggle against China. This shared theme of resilience could be a powerful diplomatic tool, connecting the two nations on an emotional and ideological level. For the Philippines, it's a chance to gain a new, if controversial, ally. For North Korea, it's a way to align with a cause that garners international sympathy. Sometimes, shared stories matter more than shared systems. Even a limited alliance between North Korea and the Philippines would send shockwaves through Asia and beyond. The US would face a strategic dilemma: how to support its ally, the Philippines, if that ally is working with North Korea. China would see North Korea's move as a betrayal, likely triggering a crisis in their relationship and possibly cutting off aid. This could make North Korea even more unpredictable. For Japan and South Korea, a bolder North Korea in Southeast Asia would be alarming, potentially fueling a regional arms race. ASEAN would be split, some welcoming a check on China, others fearing escalation. The old Cold War alliances would blur, replaced by shifting, issue-based coalitions. The entire regional order would become more complex and fluid. In this new landscape, national interests, not old loyalties, would drive decisions. The unthinkable alliance would force every country to adapt to a new reality. In geopolitics, the strangest bedfellows can change everything. The idea of North Korea defending the Philippines is speculative, but it challenges our assumptions about global politics. Desperate situations can lead to desperate, creative alliances. For North Korea, it's a chance to break free from China's shadow and gain relevance. For the Philippines, a potential new source of leverage. The ripple effects would reshape the Indo-Pacific, blurring lines between friend and foe. This scenario reminds us, the international order is always evolving, often in unexpected ways. Small states can disrupt the plans of great powers. In the chess game of global politics, never underestimate a surprising move. The future will be shaped by the boldest and most unlikely alliances.